Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank all the witnesses for being here. This is there for a while. I thought you guys were in the Republican conference debating Obamacare repeal. So, Dr. Curry, being from Georgia, I appreciate you being here again. If I recall last year, and you were here in part of your testimony, well, let me just ask you the question this way: do you believe that the climate is changing?
Absolutely. Climate has always changed.
Do you believe that human activity could be a cause?
Oh, it is a cause. It does
Okay.
contribute.
So you actually do believe that
Yeah,
it does?
sure. The
does
question is whether it's the dominant cause.
Right.
Okay, and even the IPCC says more than half. Okay, that's from 51% to
Right.
99%. That's a big.
So you don't
It's a big
deny
interval.
that human
No,
activity is
absolutely
causing-
not.
Okay.
I just don't know how much is human versus how much is natural. And I think there's a great deal of uncertainty, and it's very difficult to untangle it.
Is that uncertainty possibly because we don't really fully understand what causes this climate machine?
Absolutely. Our understanding of climate dynamics on decades to century to millennial timescales is far from complete.
Okay. Dr. Christie, the same question. You believe that there's change in the climate?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that it's possible that human activity could contribute to it?
I actually have a couple of papers showing how humans have affected the temperature, mainly through the surface thermometers, urbanization.
It
and so
doesn't
on.
sound like either one of you are deniers of.
And the carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. It
Okay.
can't not absorb
Okay.
infrared energy.
Okay. Dr. Mann, obviously you think climate is changing. Do you think that it's possible that human activity is not the dominant factor?
So I already spoke to that. Judith Curry is on record, and we just heard it.
No, I'm asking
yeah,
you.
well,
What do
saying
you
less
think?
than 50%. It might be less than 50%. The IPCC actually has a very nice
I'm asking,
plot.
what do you think?
I believe what the IPCC has said about this, that less than the proposition that we are responsible for less than 50% of the warming can be dismissed as a 1 in 10,000
well, what
proposition.
do you think? Are you just, I don't want you to
accept the
parrot what
consensus.
IPCC
I
says.
accept the world scientist's opinion. I
So
accept
in your
consensus.
opinion, there could not be no chance that human activity is not the major contributor.
Well, it's a double negative, but there is a possibility we'll wake up tomorrow and gravity no longer exists.
Okay, so-
those are possible.
okay, so
but they're extremely
It doesn't sound like
unlikely.
anybody or any amount of data could convince you otherwise at this point.
I go with the physics. You know,
Okay,
you
so
can go with opinions if you
We
want.
could say
I go with
you're a
physics.
denier of natural change.
No, my career in large part was built on my studies of natural variability. The Atlantic multidecadal oscillation that Judith Curry loves to talk about, that was coined by me. My early studies
let me ask you this
established the
question.
importance of internal oscillations in the
Okay.
climate.
I'm not trying to be.
I just want to inform.
confrontative with-
No, I just want to make sure you know that. Yep.
Okay. Do you believe that we truly understand what creates the weather? What is do we understand the climate machine?
So the weather is caused by what we call baroclinic instability. I'd be happy to talk to you
I mean,
for hours
do you
offline
disagree
about
with
that.
Dr. Curry that you sound like that we have grasp in science that we know what creates this weather patterns and we know what creates
I'm not
the
sure
weather
how to
machine.
parse that question. We understand at a great level of detail the workings of the atmosphere, the workings of the ocean and the ice sheets and the way they interact. Thousands of scientists have been studying these things for decades.
Let me
We
ask you this
understand the
question.
science of climate as well as the science of just about any other
Understand.
field.
I don't want to filibuster. I'm running out of time here. So why did we ban?
I would just like to add that
Yes.
when we understand other fields of science, we can predict the behavior.
Right.
I've demonstrated we cannot predict the behavior.
Okay, the National Academy of Science agrees with you. At least they did in the 1970s when it said we do not have a good quantitative understanding of our climate machine and what determines its course. Without the fundamental understanding, it does not seem possible to predict the climate. Why did we have a ban on sulfuric dioxide in the 1970s, Dr. Mann?
Yeah, so you're right that more than 40 years ago, we didn't have nearly the understanding we have today. In 1975, the National Academy of Sciences actually said they didn't know what was going to win out. They didn't say that global warming isn't caused by increasing greenhouse gases. What they were saying in that report was that we don't know what's going to win out, the warming effect of increasing greenhouse gases or the cooling effect of these particulates
So there was
that we are
differences
producing.
among the scientific community because, as was mentioned earlier, there was a cooling trend.
We understand very
but-
well where that came from.
But
the
the
state, yeah.
policy, the result was the reaction of lawmakers in banning sulfuric dioxide in response to the cooling trend that a group of scientists said was definitely causing the cooling of the earth. And I just refer back to Dr. Curry.
Can I
Dr.
answer? Yeah.
Curry, does this show evidence of that we really don't have a full grasp of what causes the climate change? And I think what your thing is, we may overreact in public policy that could actually have a diminishing factor in.
The gentleman's time has expired. Do you want to answer very quickly, Dr. Curry?
That's okay.
Okay. I'm